Here we go, the first map in the best of 5. DarkForce is starting at the top right of Tal'Darim altar, and we have his opponent in yellow. We have Kas at the bottom right. Those two players are the first contestants of the StarCraft.it King of the Hill, powered by CM Storm. And as you can see, we have the first map between those two guys. We have Ukrainian player Kas and the German player DarkForce. And they have met each other quite a lot. They are aware of their opponent's style, and I'm really eager to know what these guys will be up to, because I don't expect an easy winner for one of them. I expect 5 games, 4 games at the least, and some really nice tension between those two guys. The Terran player will definitely try to get a fast expansion, as will the Zerg player. This map is pretty big, so if you're a Zerg player, one thing that you can do on this map is get a 15 hatch, and lately a lot of Terran players have tried to counter that with the double barracks opening, and they've been quite successful. Also on big maps like this, for example, if you have a decent timing, then you will be able to to attack the Zerg player early on, and he might lose the game even before it really started. So DarkForce has to be aware of the situation, and he's currently scouting with one of his drones. The Overlord, of course, the initial Overlord is already on its way to the left side of the map, whereas the drone is now trying to get to the bottom right, and they will scout his opponent. We have 15 drone supply for DarkForce right now, and he's heading with another drone towards his natural expansion, and he will try to get his 15 hatch. His 15 hatch, there it is, and DarkForce immediately trying to expand. Let's have a look at Kas' base. He is building his first barracks, and as you can see in the main base, he's already getting the refinery as well, so we won't see a double barracks opening by the Terran player. He will try to get a fast expansion as well, in order to get even with the economy of his opponent, and it's quite easy to defend on a map like this. Tal'Darim altar has a nice big choke right over there, and another entrance in the back where you can actually go to the potential third base of each player. So what Kas is going to do pretty soon, he is he will get an expansion, and he will try to get some additional barracks before he really starts his tech. And he's scouting his opponent, of course, with an SCV on his own. It's just heading towards the main base of his opponent. As you can see, another Overlord of DarkForce is currently being placed on top of the hatchery, just to make sure that there's no bunker being built by the Ukrainian Terran player. And in the meantime, we have a spawning pool up and running for DarkForce as well. He got an extractor, is mining gas now. He will probably pull those drones off as soon as he hits 100 gas in order to get some more additional minerals. But the circling speed with the strategy is really crucial. And the first Marines are actually heading towards the main base of the Zerg player. I don't think that those two guys will be able to deal a lot of damage, and they're just pausing at the Xel'Naga watchtower. They are happy just to grant a little bit of vision. In the meantime, let's have a look in the main base of Kas. He's actually going for a factory. He's actually going for a factory and not even saving up money. Well, he is on 300 right now, so we might see an expansion fairly soon. But still, he's going for a factory straight away, and is going to produce some Hellions. Let's have a look at what the Zerg player is doing. And actually, DarkForce is playing it pretty safe. He's going for a spine crawler early on. He also is researching the metabolic boost, and we have the Queen placing the first creep tumor, which I like quite a lot. Especially on a map like Tal'Darim altar, you should really focus on spreading your creep, as you want that speed advantage in order to overwhelm your opponent. And here's the command center by Kas. He waited a little bit longer than I expected. He went for the factory first and is adding the tech lab right now. We see a second barracks for him coming up as well. And look into the main base reveals that he's still on with a single gas and is now adding the second refinery. He's adding the first Hellions, and we've been experiencing a lot of Terran players focusing on blue flame Hellions against the Zerg player. Right now, Kas doesn't have well, actually, he has enough resources, and there's the upgrade, so that's exactly what he's doing right now. He's going for the blue flame upgrade and is adding additional Hellions, whereas his opponent is just adding drones. He's just droning up, and as you can see, we have 1 army supply only for DarkForce, and we have 11 for his opponent. 36 against 24 worker supply so far. And a look into at the Xel'Naga watchtower, we see the 3 Marines, and in the meantime we have some additional Marines at the large choke in front of the command center, the second commander center that's going to be upgraded into an orbital command now as well. And one decision by DarkForce that I actually like quite a lot, he's going for a 3rd queen. Of course, he needs to be prepared in case that the Terran player is actually trying to use some cloaked banshees. He's already attacking to the hatchery. The thing that I don't like about DarkForce play right now is that he doesn't connect the 2 bases with creep. He only needs 1 or 2 creep tumors to do that, and this is kind of important, because if actually the Terranplayer decides to harass his opponent with some Benjis, then it's really crucial that he gets from one base to another with those queens. And now the 3rd queen is placing down a creep tumor exactly at this position, so he wants to connect the 2 bases with a creep, and already added a lot of Zerglings as well. DarkForce is trying to defend. He is preparing for a potential attack of his opponent, and he has an Overlord in place nearby the expansion, nearby the main base of his opponent, and the Starport is being added by Kas, so he might want to drop those blue flame Hellions. And if DarkForce is not aware of the situation, that might actually decide the game. And here comes a Zergling just having a little bit of scouting and sees all those Marines as well as the Hellions, and that's quite a nice army that DarkForce has to will encounter if actually Kas wants to push out. But we have seen a lot of Zerg players playing really aggressive lately. Osha, for example, was able to defeat Satini by using a lot of Zerglings and Banelings, which is a strategy that DarkForce doesn't really use. DarkForce is more a Zerg player that focuses a little bit on the macro game instead of a lot of early aggression, and it's rather style just to get a decent economy up and running, get a good grip on the map, get as many expansions as possible, and then overwhelm his opponent with a lot of units. He likes Mutalusks as well, especially against Protoss. He goes for a base trade quite often. But in this game, right now, he's just focusing on getting his tech up. He already has the lair up. We see the speed for the Roaches and the Roach Warrior, and a Baneling Nest coming up, as well as an Evolution Chamber. And in the meantime, he has 2 Overlords in place. DarkForce is kind of famous for his Overlord placement. His Overlords are always hovering nearby the enemy's base in order to scout what's happening, and Kas would do good just to get 1 Viking in order to kill those Overlords. But he's pushing out with his army, and this is the push at roughly 10 minutes with the first siege tanks with siege upgrade. We have Hellions with blue flame as well, and here comes Kas, and that's exactly the position I was talking about earlier. Immediately the Zerg player tries to put a Spine Crawler into position, but as you can see, the Medivac is providing sight on top of the cliff, and those siege tanks are attacking the Spine Crawler. Where are the transfuses? There's not enough energy on the queens. He's injecting his hatch once again, and we have 100 supply for the Zerg player and 89 for his opponent. Let's have a look at the army supply. 47 against 48, and here come the Roaches trying to take the damage of the siege tanks, and immediately all those Zerglings are trying to flank the Terranplayer, but the blue flame Hellions deal a lot of damage. The tanks are gone though, and in the meantime we have the Zerg player defending the top of the cliff as well, where Kas was trying to drop some units. Really well defended by the Zerg player, but on the other side we have also a lot of units being killed by Kas. Let's have a look at the resources lost. 2,000 against 1,600, and now DarkForce is scouting the main base of his opponent. The Overlord is being killed, 1 Emolord down, and we have additional techs for the Zerg. He's going for the Spire. He's added already another base, so he's on 3 bases right now, is adding drones and the +1 attack upgrades for his melee units, whereas the Spire is halfway done and another queen is being built as well. So let's have a look at what Kas is doing right now. He's on 86 supply, on 88 supply against 86, my bad, sorry. And we have 22 army supply for the Zerg player and 42 for Kas, and Kas has a lot of workers as well. He's behind with 10 workers, roughly 10 workers, but his income is superior due to the mules. And now he's trying to attack once again. He's pushing out again with a lot of Marines, with 2 siege tanks, and of course those Medivacs that will be able to drop part of the Terran army on top of a cliff once again. And DarkForce really has to put some effort into defending against this attack, because this will be quite hard for him. But his creep spread is very well done, and yeah, a lot of Banelings, and if the Banelings are able to reach the bio parts of the Terran army, then DarkForce will be able to defend against this push, and Kas in a lot of trouble. Now here's the drop, trying to drop the top of the cliff. Immediately all those Roaches are streaming for the tanks, but the tanks are already retreating, and very well played by Kas. He's just trying to kill the economy of his opponent, and DarkForce is not able to reach those tanks, and now all the units will be loaded into the Medivacs. Once again, there's no anti-air. There are no anti-air units. The Mutalisks are not out yet, so Kas was once again able to deal a decent amount of damage and is retreating. He's on 120 supply. He has 1,000 over minerals, 1 Yeah, and his opponent is just on a 105 supply with 1,000 minerals for himself right now. So right now, Kas in a decent position. He's really doing a good job. He's on 70 army supply against 41, and DarkForce has a lot of trouble right now. And as you can see, we have the Mutalisks. The Mutalisks are out on the game already, but only 3 of them. And this is going to be quite hard for for the DarkForce to do any damage at all, because the main problem for him right now is that all those Marine will be able to take the Mutalisks out. We don't have any attack upgrades yet, but the first one will be done fairly soon. Stim is ready, of course, as is Combat Shield, and as you can see, he's always trying just to lure those units of the Zerg player in and attack them with the tanks. Here comes the drop once again, dropping 8 Marines at the economy of his opponent and immediately attacking the Queen, and the Queen will be dead. There are all those Mutalisks trying to take out the Marines, but the Marines with Stim and the Medivac support are just too strong, and DarkForce is in a really bad spot right now. Kas has a superior position and is able to put quite some pressure on his opponent, and he is currently getting another base as well. He's adding a 3rd base. He's upgrading to the Planetary Fortress as we speak, researching the +2 attack upgrade for his bio army, and of course also additional upgrades for his siege tanks. Once again, the siege tanks are in position, able to put some pressure on the expansion, but here comes DarkForce with all his units. The Zerglings and the Banelings are streaming in. Nice Marine split by the Terranplayer, and he's able to defeat all those units of DarkForce. DarkForce with a lot of trouble. He's losing Mutalisks, Roaches, and Banelings, Zerglings, everything, and Kas with a superior play will be able to take this first map. He will be able to take Tal'Darim Altar. DarkForce morphing Banelings once again, but I don't think he will be able to fight this off, and here comes the GG, and DarkForce is leaving the game. Here we go! It's the second map of the StarCraftWorld.it King of the Hill, powered by CM Storm. We have the Zerg player from Germany starting at the top start position at 12 o'clock in a blue, and to his right at the close air position, Kas is starting as the yellow Terran player. Kas was able to win the first map. He was able to win Tal'Darim Altar, and of course the Overlord of DarkForce is already on its way to the right side of the map in order to scout if the Terran player is actually starting on close air position, which he is. DarkForce will probably try to pull the Overlord back as soon as it's scouted the command center. But usually what a Terran or a Protoss player will do on a map like this, he will go and scout with an SCV the outlines of his base at roughly 1 minute and 1 minute and 15 seconds. And this is probably exactly what Kas is going to do. No, DarkForce is not even bothering at all with putting the Overlord back. And as you can see, both players are pretty clear about where their opponent is starting. And DarkForce actually has to play a little bit better than he did on the last map. He had a problem on Tal'Darim Altar. He was in a kind of a bad situation when the Terran player attacked. And of course, the positions on Tal'Darim Altar favored Kas a little bit. I already mentioned earlier on that it's really hard to defend against a Terran player that is able to siege up at the bottom of the cliff at your natural expansion. That's exactly what Kas did, and he was able to do so because of the start positions. If he would have started to the left side of DarkForce, it would have been much harder for him to reach that position, but like that he was able to do it. And DarkForce right now is trying to pull the same build order of, once again, he's going for the 15 hatch. He's once again going for the 15 hatch, whereas his opponent is adding the barracks and already has 1 refinery up and running. So once again, we have no double barracks opening by Kas. He decided to get gas as well and is researching his orbital command upgrade. Right now, another supply depot is making sure that the wall is complete, so DarkForce won't be able to get any scouting information at all, except for that Overlord that's hovering at the back of Kas's base. In the meantime, we have the spawning pool coming up for DarkForce, and of course also Kas is scouting. And on a map like this, especially with the positions that we are encountering right now, DarkForce has to be aware that potential Banshee play is really dangerous for him right now. Kas is in a beautiful position. He could go for Banshees, he could go for Cloak Banshees. The distances between the two bases are very short, so he can play Banshees, try to attack the Zerg player with his air forces, and Zerg have a very weak air defense. One change that I kind of liked about the new patch was that the spore crawlers actually don't need only need half the time in order to root into the ground now. So that might give the Zerg player a little bit more flexibility when defending against air attacks of his opponent. But I don't think it's if it's really game deciding change. So well, we might not even see any air units by Kas. He's going for an expansion right now and is not opting for the Banshee play, at least not just yet. And he has still one refinery in his main base and is going for Bloom Flame Hellions probably once again. He's adding Hellions right now. No, he switched with barracks and added a reactor. So we will see the usual red flame Hellions. And in the meantime, we have, of course, the Zerg player also producing the first Zerglings. He has 2 queens already. And one thing that DarkForce also has to pay attention to are drop plays, for example. As I already mentioned, the distances between the 2 bases are really short, so drop play is another potential weapon in the arsenal of the Terran player that he could use. As you can see right now, we have no gas being mined for the Zerg player. He's just focusing on getting as many drones and a couple of Zerglings as well. So we have creep tumors in order to spread the creep quest just a little bit, metabolic boost being researched, and the first 2 Hellions are in position, and DarkForce knows about the Hellions. He saw both those Hellions, he knows what's happening, he's going to get a Roach Warren. In the meantime, we have Kas adding 2 more barracks, researching Stim, and the creep tumor being killed. DarkForce didn't cancel the creep tumor, and if you didn't know, you can actually cancel creep tumors that are currently being built, and then you will be able to place it again later on. So in a situation like this, this would have been the proper thing to do for DarkForce. And now he's trying to surround the Hellions, trying to get all those Hellions with the Zerglings. The first Hellion is down, the second one will fall in a second, but as soon as he's off creep, DarkForce is retreating with his army, which is a really, really wise decision, as those Zerglings are really dependent on the speed bonus they get on creep. They need that speed advantage over the Hellions if they want to surround them, and if they are not able to surround the Hellions, those thingies are just able to deal so much damage to the light armored units. And now Kas is retreating. He doesn't want to fight on creep, and immediately 2 SCVs are pulled off the minerals in order to repair the Hellions. As you can see, DarkForce is already tacking to his lair. He's also adding a 3rd queen, which is kind of standard for him right now. Not every Zerg player is going for 3 queens, but I think that's definitely one thing that people should do, because you need the extra queen, you need the extra energy to spread your creep properly. But a lot of Zerg players are actually neglecting that crucial point in their play, and quite often they get punished for it. By now we have another base for DarkForce. He's trying to get a 3rd hatch, and as you can see in the main base of the Terran player, we have additional barracks with add-ons and a reactor attack lab. Stim is nearly done, and so far he didn't build an engineering bay. No engineering bay for Kas just yet. We have a siege tank in his army mix, and he's also researching the combat shield upgrade as well as the siege mode for his tanks. Speed upgrade being researched as well for the Zerg player, and we see the 3rd base. The queen is already walking towards the third hatch, and 1 creep tumor could spread the creep quite a little bit further. And once again, one thing that I don't like, we see the evolution chamber, and we have the Baneling Nest. I like that a lot, but I don't like the creep spread between the bases. In my opinion, this is a really, really important thing, and if actually Kas would have attacked with air units, then DarkForce would have been in a lot of trouble. But DarkForce is a player that's scouting quite a lot, so he's aware of the situation right now. There's no danger, no immediate danger of Banshees being built. He knows about the tanks, and he's just trying to get his 3 bases up and running. But as you can see in the back, there's Kas trying to attack the 3rd base of his opponent. We have 81 supply against 85. Let's have a look at the army supply. 40 for Kas, 36 for his opponent, and here come the siege tanks. The first tank is being sieged, and now Kas is moving in. The 2nd siege tank being sieged as well, and all those marines are just trying to kite the Zerglings, trying to attack the siege tanks, dealing a huge amount of damage, but there are way too many Zerglings for Kas to deal with, and he's getting annihilated. The roaches are doing a good job as well, and DarkForce is researching the +1 attack upgrade, while we have Kas with a lot of energy on his orbital command. He's getting a 3rd orbital command, my bad, and is trying to get as many mules out as possible, obviously having quite a decent income. Let's have a look at the income tab. We have 1,400, 500 for the Zerg player as well as for the Terran player, so they're pretty even income-wise. And let's have a look at the 10 workers, 10 worker advantage for the Terran player actually, and DarkForce researching the speed for his banelings as well. Banelings are a crucial element in the army of a Zerg player, especially if you are facing a lot of Marines, and that's exactly what DarkForce is experiencing right now. We have basically the same unit mix that Kas used in the last game. He is also adding the Medivacs once again, and as you can see, DarkForce in the meantime has enough time to drone up. He's on 57 drones already. He's adding banelings, and banelings, especially with the speed upgrade on creep, are so dangerous to a Terran army. If you are able to reach the Terran bio army, then the Terran player is done. You need a really good micro, you need creep spread, and you need a good positioning, especially with your mech components of the army, so that the tanks, for example, will kill as many banelings as possible and maybe even tank the damage. As soon as the banelings are gone, you have a decent chance of fighting with your Marines, but up to that point, you are in a lot of trouble, especially if you're fighting on creep, which is why Kas is going to try to get rid of those creep tumors, and we have him trying to get the command center, the planetary fortress actually, at the rich mineral fields, which is a smart move to do. And also DarkForce trying to expand once again. He's relying on Mutalisks again. He's trying to get some of the Mutalisks to harass the main base of his opponent, killing the first SCV, researching the speed for his overlords, and adding additional upgrades to his melee units. The +1 attack, +2 attack upgrade for his Zerglings is being researched right now. And what Kas is doing is adding missile turrets. He's adding missile turrets and trying to defend his base. There's another missile turret being placed in front of the siege tank, and as you can see, the worker supply is still in favor, the army supply is still in favor of the Terran player, whereas the worker supply is in favor of the Zerg. But don't forget about those mules, especially at the gold expansion. They are a deadly weapon in the arsenal of the Terran player. He's on 2,500 income per minute, and that's a huge amount. That's a huge amount of minerals that he has to spend. He is on 145 supply against 155, and now DarkForce is adding the infestation pit. He's getting additional Zerglings, he's getting additional overlords and the infestation pit, trying to add another hatch, and he's scanning the creep tumors, trying to kill all of them. And that's exactly what I mentioned. He wants to force the creep back so that he can actually fight without the speed bonus for the Zerg, but DarkForce is going for it, and all those Zerglings and banelings are just attacking the Terran player, and the numbers of Kas' army are dwindling. But as you can see, the beautiful spread of his siege tanks and of course the Marines was able to save the day for Kas. He was able to force his opponent back and is now dropping the fourth base of the Zerg player, trying to snipe that hatchery, but he probably won't be able to do that, as there are a lot of units just streaming in Mutalisks as well, so he won't be able to retreat. Is he able to take out that hatchery? No, he is not, and he's retreating with the Medivac and trying to drop them on top of the cliff, and he actually managed to do that, but he wasn't able to kill any Mutalisks at all. The Mutalisks took a lot of damage, but none of them died. And here comes another drop by Kas in the main base of the Zerg player, taking out that baneling nest. Well done by Kas. 148 supply for the Terran player and only 142 for the Zerg player, but a lot of minerals. And as you can see, all those Medivacs, the Medivac just died and a lot of Marines with him. So this is quite a blow to the army of the Empire player. We have 66 army supply against 88. Still Kas has a decent advantage, and now DarkForce is getting his baneling nest back. He's adding additional Mutalisks. He's going for Pathogen glands so that his infestors are actually starting with enough energy for a fungal growth. And another hatch is added, as well as the +1 armor upgrade. And there are quite a lot of Zerglings just running at the bottom of the map, scouting a little bit what the Terran player is actually up to. He wants to know what's happening, and he sees that there's no expansion at the natural of the 6 o'clock start position. In the meantime, Kas is taking it easy, is just researching additional upgrades, is getting the infantry armor upgrade, +1, is going for the +1 attack upgrade as well. And the Zerglings trying to get a glimpse of what's happening at the bottom right of the map, but the army of Kas is already in place and just intercepting all those Zerglings. And now it seems like Kas is going to attack once again. He's clearing the Xelnaga watchtower, killing the Roach, and we have additional Zerglings at the bottom of the map, and they will make sure that there is no SCV sneaking onto the natural of the 6 o'clock star position and just trying to get another base up and running. 187 supply against 185. We have 3 Thors being built, and Thors are really a force to reckon with. They are so strong, and here comes the Zerg player once again. All those tanks are in position, but now DarkForce is able to stream in with his whole army. Oh my god, he's losing so many units, so many Bailings especially, to the tanks of his opponents. He was able to take out most of the mech army of the Terranplayer, but all those Marines are still well and can stim and attack the army of the Zerg player. No more Bailings left. Here come the Zerglings, immediately annihilated by the 1-1 upgraded Marines, and the siege tanks are trying to take out the Bailings. The Bailings! Oh my god! Oh my god, he was able to kill so many of those Marines. And once again, those two players are tied. We have 127 supply against 134. And the expansion is gone though. Kas was able to snipe the hatch. DarkForce is immediately rebuilding it. And in the meantime, we have another command center being built by Kas. He has a planetary fortress at the bottom right and is adding additional barracks right now as well. He already has his Thors in place. He has the siege tanks, and he is adding Marines and additional tanks, trying to get an edge over his opponent. And now it's pushing him once again. He has quite a decent army right now. He's on 152 supply against 141. Let's have a look at the army supply. Oh my god, he's way ahead. He's on 100 army supply against 60. DarkForce has a lot of workers right now. He has 83 workers. He has a very good economy, but he's lacking gas. He has a lot of minerals, but he is lacking gas. He's going for a Greater Spire right now, and Broodlords would be a beautiful addition to the Zerg army. He would be able to deal so much damage to Kas, and he of course needs Infestors with Fungal Growth as well. That's exactly what he's getting right now. He doesn't have any Infestors just yet, and they might just a little bit too late. Here come the Zerglings and the Bailings. Once again, nice micro, nice split by Kas, but from the side, yeah, DarkForce is losing way too many Bailings to the Thors. So the Thors are tanking quite a lot of Bailing damage, and the Marines are still alive and kicking. And here come the siege tanks sieging up at the bottom of the cliff once again. Kas is on 180 supply. He might be able to take the second game as well, taking a 2-0 lead over his opponent. And here comes Empire Kas with another scan, killing all those tumors. And as you can see, the Zerglings just don't stand a chance. But here comes the Zerg player once again, and the Fungal in combination with the Bailings is not able to do anything. Kas wins the second game as well. DarkForce types GG, leaves the game, and is 2-0 behind, which is quite a huge problem for the German Zerg player right now. Very well played by Kas, and we will see the third map coming up shortly. And the third map just started. Kas is leading with 2-0 against DarkForce. The German Zerg player is in quite a lot of trouble. We are on terminus right now, and the Zerg is starting at the 12 o'clock start position. Kas with have fun, good luck, good game. Overdoing it a little bit if you ask me. On the right side of the map we have the Terranplayer once again in yellow. And he was able to win Tal'Darim Altar as well as Metalopolis. He did a really good job. He started out with the same opening both times. He started out with the barracks and gas, didn't play the double barracks opening that we saw so many times against the Zerg player that's starting with a 15 hatch. And that eco build didn't do DarkForce all that good. He is in a little bit of trouble right now, and he might need to change things a little bit. Let's have a look at what DarkForce is doing. On a map like this, of course, you can fast expand quite safely. You have 3 bases that are basically just that can be defended by this small bottleneck position right there. There are rocks in the back though as well, through which you can reach the third base, the potential third base. And we have Kas with the barracks in production. He probably will add a refinery fairly soon, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's focus a little bit on what DarkForce is doing right now, because he has really to change his strategy a little bit. He's going for the 15 hatch once again, so he's fairly confident with his opening. We saw that the last 2 maps already, and he was able to pull it off each time, and Kas not even trying to attack him. But right now we have Kas with a lot of minerals and no gas at all. He doesn't have a refinery yet, and he might just go for the fast expansion. He's researching, he's going for the orbital command upgrade right now, and if you focus on that many minerals, it's a pretty good indicator that you are going for a fast expansion. So we can expect the command center of 4 Kas to be built fairly soon, and of course he needs to add additional barracks after that as well if he wants to defend against early aggression of the Zerg player. So what we are expecting right now is the expansion of the command center as the second building, as the second production building, and after that at least 2 more barracks for the Terran player. He's just saving up his minerals. He's on 395. Here are the 400 minerals and the command center as well, whereas the Zerg player added his spawning pool in his main base, and the extractor is finished as well. The first 3 drones are starting to get some gas out of it, and let's have a look at the APM. We have 162 average for Kas and 135 for the Zerg player, and he's going to get 2 queens. He's getting 2 queens simultaneously. In the meantime, we have additional barracks for the Terran. Barracks number 2 is being built, and here comes the second SCV building another barracks. So we have 3 barracks. That's exactly what we expected would happen, and as you can see, he's just trying to close off that wall with another supply depot. This is exactly what Kas is doing right now, so he's in a really safe position, and any incoming attack, any incoming aggression by the Zerg player will have to go through those barracks. And as I already mentioned earlier, a lot of Zerg players lately focused a little bit more on trying to play a lot with banelings, busting their opponent, because Terrans tend to play a bit greedy. As soon as the wall in is complete, they feel really safe and comfortable. They're just focusing on getting a lot of SCVs, on tacking, and some of them are actually neglecting the defense and feel too safe behind those 3 barracks or behind that wall in. And a lot of Zerg players try to take advantage of exactly that situation by using banelings and a lot of Zerglings with early upgrades, early attack upgrades, in order to bust through that wall in and kill the Terran player before he gets too strong. Let's have another look at the main base of the Zerg player though. We have no drones in gas. Now he's adding some additional drones to the extractor once again. So let's see if he's really going for a baneling nest. I seriously doubt it, to be honest. We have a spawning pool with a metabolic boost upgrade, so he's researching the speed for his Zerglings once again, and we will see a baneling nest later on probably, but not right now, and he's not going to bust his opponent. Is he adding another base? So certainly looks like it. He's actually heading over towards the third base with his drone and is just waiting for the minerals to accumulate, and he's once again researching, just trying to get an overlord into position. As you can see, we have those Zerglings trying to well, nibble a little bit at destructible debris, and in the meantime Kas added another bunker at the back, already added a tech lab to one of his barracks in order to get his stim. We have one of DarkForce's overlords in position behind the 2 bases, so he can get a glimpse of what's happening, and now of course DarkForce has to retreat because all those Marines are just not too happy with the Zerglings killing the destructible rocks and therefore attacking them. The tag to the hatchery fairly soon. Once again, he's adding a lot of drones. He's on, let's have a look, 46 against 32 worker right now. We have another base being built for DarkForce. He's going for the 3rd base fairly soon. In the meantime, let's have a look at what the Terran player is up to. He's getting a reactor at his 2nd barracks, already has quite a nice saturation at his 2nd base. Is not going for the 3rd one though, not just yet. And in the main base we have 2 refineries, we see additional barracks, so he's on 5 barracks right now, 6 barracks, playing a lot of bio. And in the main base of the Zerg player we have the baneling nest, we have the roach borer, and T2 is already done. Another lava inject for DarkForce. And DarkForce, of course, he can try to play with Muralists once again, but he Mutalisk didn't do him any good the last 2 maps, so I seriously doubt that he will go for the same strategy once again. He needs really to change it quite a little bit. Of course, if he executes it perfectly, then it will work just fine, but still, especially with those bases and with an opponent like Kas, Mutalisks are probably not the right weapon of choice. He might just try to get those Infestors a little bit earlier than he did last game. They were really too late on Metalopolis in order to deal a lot of damage to the Terran player. He was able to get at least one Fungal off and get the Banelings in, but if he would have been able to do that a little bit earlier, he would have been in a lot better position throughout the game. He's going for the +1 attack upgrade, and here is the Terran army, and this is quite a lot of units. This is a really fearsome army. He has a lot of his 24 Marines and 8 Marauders, and we have a lot of Banelings as well. So Kas should be careful what he's doing right now. He's walking onto the creep. Let's have a look at the upgrades. No speed upgrade for the Banelings just yet. Where is the army of the Zerg player? We have 2 buildings just trying to wall off a little bit, but they are pretty vulnerable at that spot as well. So here come the Banelings and the Zerglings. The Zerglings need to make sure that the Terran army can't run away, which is exactly what they're doing right now. Oh my god! Oh my god! Holy shit! Did you see that? Beautifully executed by DarkForce and Kas. I mean, it was kind of obvious what would happen. Kas fell for it. The Zerglings are making sure that the Terran army can't retreat, and the Banelings with a speed bonus on the creep are annihilating them. Holy shit, he lost so many units just now. 3,000 resources lost against 1,400. And the wall-in, well, the wall-in is in place, but as you can see, if the units are in front of the wall-in doesn't do you any good. And that's exactly what's happening right now. There are a lot of units dying, and DarkForce is able to sneak in, looking at the 3rd base, sees that there's no expansion whatsoever. He's adding the Spire right now, going for the +2 attack upgrade as well as the Baneling speed, and DarkForce is in a superior position right now, and Kas looks really, really bad. I mean, this attack was just bullshit. I mean, I'm really sorry. Kas is an amazing player and I love his style, but I have no idea what he was thinking. I mean, he was just walking onto the creep. He didn't have any medivacs. He didn't have any siege tanks. He only had those Marines and Marauders, and he was fighting on creep against Ling Baneling army, and DarkForce said thank you and just killed him right there. We have another base for DarkForce, for the Zerg player. He's going to get a 4th base. He's on 3 bases already. He has 112 supply against 92, and DarkForce with a beautiful position. He has a lot of Zerglings right now, and is adding Mutalisks as well, and those Mutalisks this time will be able to deal a lot of damage, as DarkForce is already in a better position, and Kas is kind of weakened. And I have no idea what he's doing. I mean, look at that army. That's nothing. That's really nothing at all. Let's have a look at the army supply. He's on 50 army supply against a 57. And here, once again, the same thing happens. Here comes the Zerg player just streaming in, attacking his opponent. But the Banelings are not with speed yet. They don't have the speed upgrade yet. DarkForce should have waited a little bit longer. Kas able to do a lot of damage. Now the speed is done, but nice kiting. Nice kiting by Kas. It's not enough, though. Still the Zerg player with a better position in this game, but I would have loved DarkForce just to wait a little bit longer so that the Banelings actually had the speed already. He would have killed those Terran units a lot faster and be in a better position. +1 attack upgrade for the air units is being researched as well. The destructible rocks are gone. We have additional Lings and Zerglings, and here come the Banelings trying to get to the Marines. Woo-hoo-hoo! In your face. Very well done. Very well done by DarkForce. He's just putting a lot of pressure onto Kas right now, and Kas doesn't have his 3rd base. He's getting a command center right now, but we have Jonathan Balker already with a +2 attack upgrade for his Banelings and Zerglings. He's researching the +1 armor upgrade and the speed for his Overlords. The position for the Zerg player is really good right now, and we have the DarkForce with the 4th base up and running. He's adding a queen right there, and once again Kas is moving out. He doesn't have any upgrades whatsoever. He's researching +1 attack upgrade, but have a look at that. He's just relying too much on those Marines without upgrades, and he's getting butchered. He's getting butchered. He's able to kill a lot of Zerglings, but the reinforcements of DarkForce are just too much for him to handle. He lost 9,500 resources. We have 7,200 for his opponent. And now DarkForce is killing the supply depot. He's building another 30 Zerglings and getting more and more Mutalisks as well. One Reaper being produced for Kas. I think that was a misclick. I have no idea what a Reaper could do in this situation. And 8 additional Marines. We have Marauders as well. 2 extractors are being built at the 4th base. So DarkForce is trying to get additional gas. Gas is what kind of limits you. If you're a Zerg player, you always have trouble with gas, especially when you play a combo with Banelings and Mutalisks. Mutalisks are quite gas heavy and well, relatively speaking. And we have once again Kas with with his small bioforce. He's on 1,400 gas. He doesn't get any gas units at all. He doesn't even have medivacs, and that's what I not get. He doesn't even have medivacs, so every stim hurts him quite a lot. And here comes DarkForce once again with his army. He's attacking the Terran. And I mean, look at that, 145 supply against 82. This game is over. This game is so over. The 3rd base of Kas. No, no, no. There is just no way that he can win this game. The Zerglings are being butchered by the Bio Army, but the expansion is down already, and the SCVs are falling as well. Kas has to type GG, and this is the first win for DarkForce. DarkForce winning Terminus, and therefore getting his first win in the best of 5 series is 2-1 to Kas. The 4th game between DarkForce and Kas started. Kas lost the match on Terminus, and as you can see, we have a 2-1 lead for the Terran player from the Ukraine right now. DarkForce, starting at the top right of the map, has to win this game if he wants to have a shot at the 100 euros. This King of the Hill is organized by StarCraftWorld.it and powered by CM Storm, and Kas is adding additional SCVs in his main base. He's on 9 right now. We'll build the supply depot fairly soon. Here we go. And in the meantime, DarkForce is also adding his drones, and on this map it will be quite interesting to see if DarkForce is really relying on the 15 hatch once again. I mean, if you start on a map like, for example, Tal'Darim Altar, Metalopolis, there's always the issue of scouting. The distances between the bases are usually pretty huge, so it's kind of hard for a Terran player really to put that much aggression onto a Zerg that's starting with a 15 hatch early on. Even if you go and build that bunker, then the drones will probably be able to kill your SCV. But on a map like Salnaga Caverns, you don't have to scout. You know where your opponent is starting. It's 2-player map, so DarkForce is getting an extractor first and on 14 supply. 14 drone supply, and will add the spawning pool after that. So this time he's not going for the fast expansion. He's playing it a little bit more safe. And Kas is just adding. He's going for his wall in at the bottom of the ramp. If you wall off at the bottom of the ramp, your buildings are a little bit more vulnerable, and you don't have that bottleneck to defend. But you only need 2 buildings in order to wall off, which comes in quite handy sometimes. And Kas is actually able to deny all scouting. So DarkForce has no idea what's happening. DarkForce has no idea whatsoever what's happening, and Kas pulling off 1 SCV in order to scout himself, finishing the barracks with another one, and now straight adding, directly adding that command center. As you can see, there's no gas just yet for Kas, and he is adding 2 additional barracks. Kas with 3 barracks opening. This guy is quite ballsy, and apparently he wants to marine rush his opponent, and DarkForce can be so happy that he didn't start with a 15 hatch. He's playing it a little bit more safe, and that might just pay off. As you can see, the SCV is already scouting. Bam! Lynx killing it immediately, and now DarkForce is adding additional units. He's getting his queen, the metabolic boost, and in the meantime, Kas already put some energy onto the supply depot. He got the additional supply for that supply depot so that he didn't have to build that that what is it, that an additional another supply depot early in the game. He neglected the mules for that, so this is quite an interesting strategy for Kas. I kind of like it. While we have DarkForce building his hatchery, nonetheless, he scouted and he knows, of course, that something's up, but he doesn't really know what's happening. I mean, if the Terran player is going to that much effort and just does everything that he can in order to prevent you from scouting, then you know that something has to be happening right now. So, well, let's have a look at what DarkForce is doing. He's actually saving up some larva. Now he's not supply blocked anymore, and immediately he's getting Zerglings. He's not overdroning. He's immediately getting Zerglings, and now he knows. He saw the supply depot. He knows that there were extra supply. As you can see, a supply drop was used for that supply depot. So he has a fair idea of what's happening. And we have those Zerglings at the Xalaga Watchtower as well. And now DarkForce knows that there are a lot of Marines heading his way, and it's 15 army supply for the Terran player and 11 for his opponent. All those SCV are being used as well. That's the all-in move by Kas. He might be able to take this game right now and then, but in the meantime, we have a lot of Zerglings for DarkForce. He was anticipating this strategy by his opponent. Something like that, something fishy was going on, and he has Zerglings everywhere and is now just trying to get a good position in the fight, and is pulling off his drones as well. Here come the Zerglings immediately attacking the Terran player. The drones are there as well. So who's winning that fight? Supply is dropping 27-33, and DarkForce is clearing everything. Kas has to GG, and DarkForce ties the series. It's 2-2, and we will see a 5th game between DarkForce and Kas. Shadow Temple, the 5th map, DarkForce 2 versus Kas, also with 2 map wins. Kas with the all-in on Xanaga Caverns, and he lost to DarkForce, so this is the deciding map. It's the StarCraftWorld.it, King of the Hill, powered by CM Storm, and we are going to see a 5th match between those 2 players. I like that quite a lot. I really like both of them, and the Terran versus Zerg matchup is one of my favorite ones. And I have to admit that on a map like this with a cross position, we can probably expect quite a nice game. And of course, both players really want to win this match, as the winner gets 100 euros and will be able to compete in next week's King of the Hill once again. So next week at 9 o'clock on Thursday, we will stream the next match, the next best of 5 match of this King of the Hill series. So make sure to tune in once again. And we have DarkForce at the top position at 12 o'clock, whereas his opponent is starting at the 6 o'clock start position. We have a Kas with a supply depot in a kind of strange position. Of course, like that, he will be able to scout an Overlord. So if DarkForce would have actually started at the 9 o'clock start position, the Overlord would be visible to the Terran player right away. But this is a little bit weird nonetheless. We have Kas with the barracks at the choke now, just building his first production building. And in the meantime, DarkForce with 14 supply is adding his pool, so he's going for a safe build once again, which is a little bit surprising to me. I mean, he scouted his close position, and with the knowledge that his opponent is not starting at the close position, he should have known that Kas has to start is starting at the cross position, because the Overlord is already in place at the right side of the map. So he could have gone for the 15 hatch, but he decided to play it safe, played with a 14 extractor and a 14 spawning pool. Let's have a look at what Kas is doing. Kas actually just tagging to his command center, and the drone is now heading into the main base of Kas. And as you can see, that we have no supply depot, number 1, and probably the add-on will close the wall in. Let's have a look what's happening right now. We have a scout for Kas as well. So this is map number 5. And we have DarkForce with his queen. He's getting the first 4 Zerglings. In the meantime, Kas adding his attack lab, and he had to move his barracks. And there's not a perfect wall in. So let's have a look what Kas is actually going to do. And what is DarkForce doing? DarkForce is still getting gas. He might go he might go for Banelings. Usually what you are doing as a Zerg player in this situation is you're making sure that as soon as you have the 100 gas, you're pulling off the drones from your extractor in order to get additional minerals, because you do want to get your expansion a little bit earlier. But DarkForce decided to leave the drones in the extractor, and therefore is still harvesting gas, and he cancelled his hatch and is getting a baneling nest, a hidden baneling nest. That's brilliant. So even if Kas is scouting, he won't know what hit him. The baneling nest is being built at the natural expansion, and DarkForce is using that expansion trick that a lot of Zerg use, for example, against a Protoss player, with building the hatchery, cancelling it, and immediately trying to get an evolution chamber and at the same spot in order to hide his baneling nest. In the meantime, let's have a look at Kas. Kas is getting his command center. He has 2 barracks at the bottom of the choke. He's trying to wall off slowly but steadily. He's getting his first Marines. He's getting his stim pack, and in the meantime, we have those Zerglings just getting into position. DarkForce is morphing Banelings and is trying a Baneling bust against his opponent. Let's have a look. What does DarkForce actually know? He knows about this building, and now he knows about the expansion as well, about all those barracks, and about the bunker as well. This is going to be brutal. If properly executed, DarkForce might win it right here and there. The Zerglings are streaming into the main base. The bunker is not done yet. All those SCVs are trying to help the army of the Terranplayer. Look at that. This looks just too brutal. The Marines are dead. The Marines are dead. So is the entire army of the Terranplayer. The Banelings are trying to get into the worker line. Oh my god, DarkForce, such a smart play. He's hiding his Baneling nest, and there is nothing that Kas can do. Additional units are streaming into his main base. He's trying to build Marines. The upgrade for the orbital commander's expansion is ready, but this is too much pressure early on for the Terranplayer to deal with, and DarkForce will win this match. Kas, GG's. He actually doesn't GG, he types nice and leaves the game, and DarkForce is the first king of the Hill of StarCraftWorld.it, powered by CM Storm. Congratulations to DarkForce taking this series with 3-2.